Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to The Mixer, the segment on this channel where I give you guys all sorts of detailed analyses from all walks of life. I'll talk about people, places, animals, food, sports, traveling, the whole 9 yards. Hence why it's called The Mixer, because I mix things up in this huge playlist here that I think has about 200 or so videos at this point. But who's counting? Well, I am. But anyway, so today I'm going to be doing the very first athlete profile or player profile, whatever you want to call it, sports related video that I've done in a while. The last time I was talking about the NHL, some hockey players, and today I'm going to be getting into football. Got a few videos planned out for you guys about some players who graced the NFL with their presence, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the greatest running backs of all time, Walter Jerry Payton, who played 13 seasons in the NFL with the Chicago Bears, where he was actually drafted in 1975. He was actually the 4th pick in the first round, and the rest is history. He did play college ball, he played in high school too, and he was already setting records. He would go on to become one of the most feared players, in the NFL, because when Walter was playing with the Chicago Bears, he was standing at just 5'10". He wasn't really that tall, but he weighed 200 pounds, and he would just get in. He would just really get into the nit and grit on the field, man. And his motto was never die easy for a reason. It was really hard to stop this guy. He was a nightmare for the offense, and he actually had quite a few records in the NFL. I'm gonna read some of them for you guys right now. He, aside from being a prolific rusher, he had at one point, right? A lot of these records were broken, but at one point he had the NFL record for career rushing yards, right? Touchdowns, carries, yards from scrimmage, all-purpose yards, and a few other categories, So basically, he was like the GOAT before Tom Brady was even born, basically, He was insane. And when he retired, he had the most receptions or catches by a non-receiving player, in the field. So, and he also had 8 career touchdown passes. Now, the thing with Payton is that he was kind of like an all-purpose player, He was a running back, but he also could rush for touchdowns. He could tackle. He could just really work the line of scrimmage. I do believe there were a few instances in his career where he also threw for touchdowns. So he was pretty much like the jack of all trades, very similar to Joe Montana. But the thing with Payton specifically is that there was something different about him, man. He kind of revolutionized the RB position. He played football in a different way that really made people afraid of him. He actually he had this habit of never giving up easily. Even in practice, he would never go out of yards. He would really make the tacklers work him down to the field. It was really hard to knock him down. The only way for you to stop Walter Payton in his prime was to just get 2-3 guys on him and shove him down as hard as you could. And even then, he would probably still get through you and score a rushing TD. It was freaking insane, man. Now, I'm going to try to give you guys sort of like a shortened summary of his career, some of his highlights, what he did. And I'm going to see if I can maybe make this video come out, under 20 minutes or so. And as is the norm with these athlete videos, and I love doing this so much, let's take a look at a clip here of Walter doing his thing back in the early days.
Avellini with a long count. They give to Payton on a sweep to the right side. He gets a block from Revisori. Spins back inside. Ripped by one man. Still on his feet. Struggles away at the 20. Still battling. Breaks away at the 15. The 10. The 5 and down to the 4-yard line. Sensational run by Walter Payton. He broke 4 different tackles.
Pretty cool, huh? Pretty damn cool, man. I think that's the oldest one that I'm gonna be able to get from YouTube, the oldest clip of Walter, Hopefully won't have any copyright issues. I hope I can use it feasibly here with no issues. But anyway, so Payton actually played with the Chicago Bears from 1975 to 1987, and at the time of his retirement, he had rushed for at least 1,200 yards in 10 of his 13 seasons, 2 of which were shortened because of lockouts, keep that in mind. His first season wasn't really that successful. He only rushed for 675 yards and only scored 7 touchdowns. However, he did lead the league in yards per kickoff return, and he actually started to get better and better, and there were many games, a string of victories here, rushing for thousands of yards, He actually started to become much more dynamic in the position, and then he would later gain accolades, playing in different positions. So he was a running back, but he also played as, like, for example, he played as a blocker, a receiver, an emergency punter, even a quarterback at one point, a lot. Like I said, he was very dynamic, very versatile. The 80s saw a very large increase in the defensive end of the Chicago Bears, There are actually some things that I can even show you guys here, There was one particular game against the Saints in '84 where he actually broke the rushing record for over 1,200 yards, which was insane. So in the 80s, they actually brought in a few different players, like, for example, the quarterback Jim McMahon, In that season, the Bears had a 46 offense that... had a 46 defense. So that actually was one of the best defenses in NFL history because they had the least amount of points allowed. And a lot of the success in the Chicago Bears era of the 80s were largely attributed to Payton, you know. And I do believe that you could say that the highlight of his career and the Bears as well in that entire decade there were actually the 1985 Super Bowl, you know, Super Bowl 20, which was against the New England Patriots. On that occasion, the Bears had won 46-10, which is an insane blowout, you know. Of course, the Patriots didn't have Tom Brady back then, so I guess it made it a little bit easier, right? I'm not entirely sure if the 85 Bears could defeat, like, I don't know, the 2007 Patriots who went 16-0 in the regular season. Even though they lost the Super Bowl to the Giants, maybe that wasn't the best example. But still, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not entirely sure that the Patriots' best era could take the Chicago Bears' best era, you know, because Payton was a monster, man. Payton truly was a monster. He had this signature move, which was like the stutter step, which is essentially kind of like a pump fake, you know, where he would trick the opposing players on long runs. He would confuse them, you know, make them think about what he was going to do. Essentially quick stepping, you know, taking the ball and running. So basically, like, try to imagine that he had this very peculiar way of running, you know, like I forgot exactly what it was like. His knees, you know, let's see if I can find it here. Okay, he had a very interesting running gait, you know, which kind of protected his knees, you know, gave them a little bit more of protection. But still, he was also very, he had this habit of doing stiff arms, which wasn't really favored by the running backs in the 70s, you know. But stiff arm in football is when you put your arm out and keep it stiff and try to knock a player over, you know. He really popularized this in the 70s, you know, with the Bears offense. So it was really complicated to keep this guy down. So basically, he would sometimes use this stutter step to cut to a different direction, you know, try to make the opposing players think he was going to do something else, but then pulled the rug out from under them. So it's pretty much like a pump fake in basketball, you know, or like a step over in soccer, you know. Each sport has their own little variation of this, but this is pretty much how Walter pulled it off, you know. So it was insane, man. Something else that I actually really want to share with you guys, this stutter step was kind of considered like an option play of sorts, you know, but still. So by the 80s, he had already gotten quite a few different, you know, rushing touchdown records, you know, but he did, of course, actually share this a lot with his eventual successor, you know, Neil Anderson. I might be getting a little bit off topic here, you know, but I'm just trying to, I have a really big cheat sheet here. I'm trying to pull a bunch of random stuff here, but let's see here. Okay, I don't really know. I just know that he was really versatile, you know, in the roles that he played. Like in '84, he was kind of pulled back to a 4-string quarterback position. No, he pretty much did what he was literally a jack of all trades. Okay, like I said at the beginning of the video, I want to talk about more things. You know, I want to kind of give a little bit of a break here. So I'm going to show you guys another clip of him doing something a little bit later than the last clip, so I can catch a breath and figure out the next part of the script here.
Feature on Mr. Brookshire. Scary. Walter Payton again, and breaks into the Lions secondary. Another first down, still going, still fighting inside the 30 to the 28. Mike McCoy finally gets him down, but this is...
Now, at the time of his retirement from professional football, good old Sweetness, that was his nickname, had amassed a grand total of 16,726 total yards, which is insane, you know. That corresponds to 4.4 yards per carry, man, just to give you an idea. And obviously, it broke the record for the most rushing yards by a running back in NFL history at the time, you know. And that corresponded to 110 touchdowns, which he scored. However, on the other end of the spectrum, catching, he actually had 492 receptions, which is caught passes, you know, for a total of 4,583 receiving yards, you know, with which he used to convert 15 touchdowns. So 15 times he caught the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. And dude, it's freaking crazy, you know, because to this day he still holds the NFL record for most touchdown passes by a running back with 8, you know, because he did play QB for a time in his career. Now his number 34 was of course retired by the Chicago Bears, and he did make the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1993. And the thing is, I'm gonna read a little bit for you guys about his other career accolades here, you know. So here we go. There are quite a few of them, and I'm gonna talk about his records too. So here we go. Oh boy, this is always the hardest part. So, like I said before, he is a Super Bowl champion. He won in '85, you know, Super Bowl 20 against the Patriots. He was also an NFL Most Valuable Player in 1977, and he was an NFL Offensive Player of the Year in the same year, '77. The same year, he was also the NFL Man of the Year, right? Now we get to some of the multiple ones, right? So, Oh boy, he made the Pro Bowl 9 times, so he's a 9-time Pro Bowl, you know, from 76 to 80 and 83 to 86. He is a, I hate saying this, 5-time first team All-Pro, because it's a goddamn mouthful, you know, in the 70s and 80s. A 3-time second team All-Pro, so he made the second team in 78, 79, and 86. He was also a 4-time NFL rushing attempts leader, you know, from 76 to 79. And he was also pretty much everything is in 1977, right? The NFL rushing yards leader in 77, you know, the tail end of the 70s there, the seasons for the Bears, and also an NFL rushing touchdowns leader, also in 77. Holy freaking crap! He also made the NFL 1970s All-Decade Team, unsurprisingly, and even less surprisingly, he made the NFL 1980s All-Decade Team as well. And he individually, he also won the Burt Bell Award in 1985. I don't even know what that is, you know. I'm gonna just go do a quick little search here. Presented to the Player of the Year in the NFL. Okay, I guess maybe that was like the MVP of that time period. All right, so the NFL 75th anniversary all-time team, that is very much expected. Also the NFL 100th anniversary all-time team. You know, now I'm going to talk about his records, right? There's a whole other section of that here. So a few of his NFL records, you know, he has the consecutive regular season record starts by a running back, you know, with 170, which was from 76 to 87 throughout his entire career. He also has the most consecutive seasons leading the league in rushing attempts with 4, although that is a tied record with another player. Oh boy, and that was from 76 79. Go away. And he also has the records for games with 100 or more yards from scrimmage gained, you know, with 108. And, oh boy, the record for most passing touchdowns by a non-QB since the NFL and AFL merger in 1970s, you know, with 8. Oh my god, that was insane, man. That was insane. Don't know what else I can say, so I'm just going to show you guys one final clip here of Mr. Sweetness before I go into the final stretch.
Cherry and Wilburn are in defensively. They give to Payton. Payton wants to throw it again. Nobody open. Now Payton back to McMahon. Touchdown!
Despite having arthroscopic surgery on both of his knees in 1983, Payton was still just a force to be reckoned with in the NFL after that, you know. He referred to that procedure as his 11-yard checkup, you know, because his knee, he actually had a lot of protection, you know, on his knees, you know, which normally are a football player's most vulnerable joints, you know, because a lot of his motions came from the hip, you know, and like I said before, he was a high jumper in high school, so he would leap over, you know, his opponents. Like, there was this one game, I think in the 70s against the Buffalo Bills, where he actually jumped and, you know, his head landed in the end zone for a touchdown. It could have broken his neck, man. Like, I was insane, you know. And what I most admire him, you know, as a player was that he did not showboat, you know, different than a lot of the NFL players today, especially the running backs who are always rushing into the end zone. They always do these ridiculous celebrations that just make no sense at all, you know. He did not celebrate touchdowns. He would take the ball after a touchdown and just, you know, give it off to another player or the referee, you know. He did not celebrate his TDs. He actually preferred to celebrate after the game, like rushing into the locker room or sometimes locking his teammates out, you know, while he was taking a shower, leaving them out in the cold, you know. He did not showboat, which makes me respect him a lot more. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us because he passed away in 1999 at the age of 46, you know, from a very rare liver disease that actually gave way to bile duct cancer. And even though he tried really hard to look for an organ donor, unfortunately the disease was already very advanced in the stage that it wouldn't even have mattered if he even got a transplant, you know. It would not have been a viable option to save his life. So, and the NFL held many ceremonies for him, you know. The number 34 Sweetness was trending at the time without social media, you know. A lot of different accolades, you know, a lot of achievements that he had gained, you know. His legacy in the NFL was really just amazing. He did sought out to become the first minority owner of the NFL, you know. Not of, but in, you know. I think he wanted to become, I think it was either the NFL or team, but I don't want to talk about that. I want these athlete videos to focus on the player's legacy on the field, right? So I'm not going to talk about his personal life and any of that stuff, you know. I want to end on this note here. So that's essentially it, guys. I have combed through as much as I could here, you know. I really think I gave you guys a lot of really good information. Now, before I end it, I just want to say a few things here. I am still an up-and-coming football fan, right? You guys maybe have noticed by me playing Madden NFL 23. I can leave a link to the playlist here if you want to watch it, you know. There is a very big difference of me making football videos now versus the first time where I played NFL 21. I did a video video on Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, you know, they weren't as good as this one might be, but just bear in mind, if you're a hardcore fan of the NFL, I'm still an up-and-coming fan myself, you know, so maybe this motorcycle bastard will rush into the end zone and die. You guys might notice that maybe some of the things that I say are a little wrong or cringy, or I'm looking too much at my cheat sheet here, you know. I'm not as big a fan of the NFL as I am of the NHL or the NBA, so bear with me here. And I do sincerely, just from the bottom of my heart, hope that you football fans actually enjoy this video. If I made any mistakes, left anything out that you think should have been in here, you know, let me know in the comments below. Let's have a little chat. I'm still an up-and-coming fan, okay? So just chill. Alright, these videos might get a little cringy and slow at first, but I still really enjoyed talking about it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. So if you happen to enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too, so you can know exactly what time I upload, and it's all good. The next video will be about another player who really revolutionized the league when he was playing. So that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen right into the end zone.